I can't in good conscience do my usual intro for this particular movie Monday, because I feel like if I refer to my audience as any sort of feline creature, it's just gonna make things awkward, we won't be able to look each other in the eyes for some time, and it'll be many sorts of uncomfortable all around. I'm sorry, it's just not gonna happen, since today we are reviewing and discussing Cats, the 2019 theater musical turned live-action movie, because for some reason people decided this was a good idea. If you'd like to skip the plot overview and get right into my spoiler-free thoughts on the film, you can skip to this timestamp in the video. So with that said, let's very cautiously get into this. The majority of this film is musical introductions to different cats until the end. That's literally it. That's the gist of this movie, but I suppose we'll have to go into more details. The movie begins in a London alleyway where a car pulls in to drop a bag near the garbage, then drives away. The nearby cats go to examine the bag, which starts to move, and inside is an abandoned cat named Victoria. The other cats tell her of their tribe called the Jellicles and ponder whether or not she should be allowed to join. They question her name since she needs a second name because all cats apparently have not one, not two, but 3 names. Their human given name, their Jellicle name, and another that's some kind of secret identity. It's very weird, but seems to be of the utmost importance. Which I guess is why they all have such weird names like Monkoostrap, but Victoria never changes her name, despite a whole musical number putting emphasis on just how essential it is to have a different name. But anyway, Victoria is invited to attend the annual Jellicle Ball, where many of the cats compete to be chosen by the Jellicle's leader to ascend to the Heaviside Layer and be reincarnated to a better life. The prize is literally death, basically. The cats are competing to die. This silly movie gets morbid as fuck, but we're just gonna gloss right over that to meet our first contestant, a house cat called Jenny Anydots, who sleeps throughout the day but trains mice and cockroaches at night, and she even eats some of the cockroaches who also have human faces, and it's absolutely terrifying. Next is Rum Tum Tugger. God, these names sound like a toddler threw a dart at a board filled with random words. But he is a rebellious tomcat who brings the cats to a milk bar for a drink. The merriment is interrupted when a disheveled and dirty cat, Grisabella, appears, but she is shunned and turned away. The cats explain to Victoria that Grisabella used to be a glamour cat and former agent of a bad magical cat who is bad for unexplained reasons. Maybe he's a serial killer or something, maybe that's his whole shtick, I don't know. Named McCavity. And yes, you heard that right. I said a magical cat, who uses his magical capabilities to kidnap Jenny Anydots. We then meet Busterford Jones, a rather overweight cat who eats from the garbage and is then kidnapped by McCavity as well, brought to a boat in the middle of a river and guarded by McCavity's henchman, Growl Tiger. The other cats flee, leaving Victoria behind until she is found by 2 mischievous cat burglars named Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser. They bring Victoria along as they break into a home and cause all sorts of havoc, eventually alerting the family dog. The 2 cats ditch Victoria when she gets stuck on a bedpost by some jewelry she'd put on, but she is saved by another cat named Mr. Mistopheles, who seems to have taken a liking to Victoria since she was introduced to the Jellicles. She is brought back just in time to meet the Jellicle leader, Old Deuteronomy, and the Jellicle Ball commences inside the abandoned Egyptian theater. The Jellicles dance and celebrate, but Victoria notices Grisabella hesitantly watching from the doorway, who flees once she's been seen. Out on the street, Grisabella sings about her happy days in the past, and Victoria tries to encourage her to come inside, but she's too afraid, with Old Deuteronomy witnessing the entire exchange. Victoria goes back into the theater and questions whether she belongs there because she is not a Jellicle, but Old Deuteronomy tells her that she can become one. Another contestant, an old theater cat named Asparagus, or Gus for short, is called to perform on stage, and Mr. Mistopheles assists the act with his magic. Because having just one cat that does magic in this fever dream of a movie clearly isn't enough. Once he is finished, Gus is lured backstage by McCavity and he is also kidnapped. The next contestant is Skimbleshanks, a railway cat, who is abducted right in the middle of his performance. Bomba Lorena arrives and sings of McCavity, and she, along with Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser, douse the other cats in catnip so McCavity can appear himself and insist to Old Deuteronomy that he be chosen for reincarnation. This is probably the weirdest sentence I've ever said in my entire life. Old Deuteronomy refuses, and in a rage, McCavity kidnaps her and they both disappear to the boat, where he threatens to have her walk the plank into the river if she does not declare him the winner. Jenny Anydots manages to escape her restraints by unzipping her skin. I will say that again. Unzipping her skin to reveal the same skin underneath and also wearing a sequined outfit. This happens for the second time in the movie and brings up many questions. Like, is it her fur she's removing? Or did she kill some other cat and make herself a skin suit a la Buffalo Bill? It makes my own skin want to crawl off my body and escape, but doing so allows her and the other captured cats to be freed and fight against McCavity and Growl Tiger. Back with the Jellicles, all hope seems lost until Victoria suggests Mr. Mistopheles use his magic to bring old Deuteronomy back. He's very hesitant and unsure of himself, but with encouragement from the other cats, he gives it a try. The first few attempts are unsuccessful, but eventually he does manage to make her reappear to the delight of the Jellicles. Grisabella is found looking in through the doorway again, and she is about to run off, but Victoria stops her, encouraging her to come inside. The other cats aren't welcoming, but Victoria implores them to hear her out, and Grisabella sings a very emotional song about her past and the mistakes she's made. Everyone is moved by her performance, including old Deuteronomy, who names Grisabella the Jellicle choice. She is led to an old chandelier, which Mr. Mistopheles repairs with his magic, and is lifted into the air with an attached hot air balloon. Grisabella rides the chandelier into the sky as dawn begins to break and the kidnapped cats are reunited with the group. McCavity attempts to climb onto the chandelier as well, but he falls, and the Jellicles watch as Grisabella ascends to the Heaviside lair. Old Deuteronomy then looks at the camera for far longer than I am comfortable with to inform the audience how to properly address a cat and remind everyone that a cat is not a dog. Yes, this is an actual part of the film. Thanks. That is such useful information, and I absolutely prefer this over just ending the damn thing. And she also tells us that we've learned all about the Jellicles and know all about the Jellicle way. No, I know literally nothing about the Jellicles, even after 109 minutes of nothing but Jellicles. I thought we would end on an uplifting note with Grisabella floating away into the sky, but nope, we get a lecture. The cats all scatter except for old Deuteronomy and Victoria, who is proclaimed an official Jellicle cat for her good deeds and joins the tribe after spending like a couple hours with them. And that's it. That's the whole movie. We're done. I have stared into the abyss, and the abyss meowed back at me. So fun fact, I was a theater kid in high school. Yep, I took part in every production, play, and musical done at my school. And I did all sorts of things, from backstage work like props and makeup, to building sets, to dancing in the chorus on stage. There's me, right there for our school's production of Grease. I wouldn't exactly say I'm a walking encyclopedia of every stage musical in existence, but I know enough so that Cats was not a new thing to me. And it's always been something rather perplexing to me, like why make a musical surrounding cats? What's the point? It just sounds incredibly strange, but people seem to go crazy over this musical. So maybe I just don't get it? Perhaps I'm not seeing some sort of deeper meaning and symbolism that actually makes Cats a truly spectacular piece of art? No, I was right the first time. The original story from T.S. Eliot wasn't even a story. It had no structured plot, it was just a collection of poetry about just some random heckin' cats, which Andrew Lloyd Webber turned into a musical that still had no significant plot. I cannot emphasize this enough. Cats has no notable story. It's literally just 2 hours of introducing random cats with a specific quirky personality trait, many of them even having a pretty good life from their own words, so I have no idea why they're even vying to die and be reborn. Then they sing their little song and disappear for most of the movie. That's not to say anything of the visuals in this film. Oh my god. Most of these humanoid cats look like horrifying sleep paralysis demons with human faces floating on cat bodies with human hands and feet because of the strange way they motion captured and animated feline features onto the actors. And keep in mind, I saw this in theaters after they re-released it with improved graphics, and it's still complete nightmare fuel. And why are some cats wearing clothes but others are allowed to be naked? Some cats wear gloves, tiny jewelry, fur coats. Freaking James Corden as a cat wears a full 3-piece suit with hat and shoes. Some people have commented it does look a lot like the theater production, but something like this on stage has much more limitations than a movie. So it's essentially a given that it's not going to look spectacular on stage. But we expect a lot more from film, so seeing cats with human faces on screen is very unsettling. I was legitimately uncomfortable watching this movie for the first hour or so. The comedy parts and attempted humor were literally never funny. It was only cringy. Like when Rebel Wilson Cat says, "Don't mess with the crazy cat lady." Get it? 'Cause she's a cat and she's female. It's so funny. It's baffling because Tom Hooper has directed some wonderful films, even musical films like Les Miserables, which I adore, but this is indescribably awful. Some actors clearly just showed up for a paycheck, but a few genuinely tried to give their best performance, like Ian McKellen and Jennifer Hudson. Oh god, Jennifer Hudson, she was the only one who could invoke any sort of emotional reaction from me. Her rendition of Memory, once the song hit the climax, it was spectacular and so out of place in such a mediocre film. Even the rest of the music wasn't anything extraordinary, and half the time I could barely understand what was being said because this film was live sung. Everyone had to sing while dancing, even the actors that clearly weren't up for it. And yet, I feel strangely conflicted about Cats. From a critical standpoint, it's not well made at all, but it's still quite an experience. I've seen a lot of reviews with similar wording, and it's just something where I can't really explain why such an awful production can be so intriguing at the same time. It's just one of those things you have to see for yourself to understand. I specifically remember for the Memory scene, as soon as the song swelled, I sat back in my chair, tears in my eyes, so moved, but also so confused why this weird-ass movie was actually making me feel actual feelings, because it felt like that wasn't something that should be happening. It's the sort of movie that makes you feel high as a kite while watching it, even if you're stone cold sober, like a gruesome car accident that's so horrific, yet so fascinating, and you can't tear your eyes away. This is absolutely going to become a cult favorite. I have no doubt about that. While Cats absolutely should have never existed as a film and stayed in musical theater in the first place, that doesn't matter. It's not the movie we need, but it's definitely the movie we deserve. It's simultaneously exhilarating and terrifying all at the same time. And oddly enough, even though it is atrocious in nearly every way, I really kind of want to rewatch it, but this time getting absolutely shit-faced beforehand. I think then I'd probably have a much more enjoyable time. That, and I just want to see Jennifer Hudson perform Memory again. So because of this, I'm giving Cats my personal rating of 3 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and if you have any suggestions for movies I should discuss and review in the future. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you have not already, and until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye!